Yo, what up? What up? What up? It is Sunday, May 7th, 2023. Um, this is the first episode of the Sunday Inspiration at 10 a.m. every Sunday. That's what I'll be doing at 10 a.m. every Sunday if I'm not doing a seminar that weekend. Um, Speaking of seminars, I'm about to ramp it up and do seminars uh over the next few months. Summer is coming. My freedom, I'll have a little more freedom. My daughter be out of school. She most likely will be traveling to these seminars. Um, so that's coming. I'm trying to pick some cities that I'm going to go to first. I got some in mind. I won't speak on it just yet until I start making some phone calls and looking at some venues and places to set things up. Exciting news. I got some stuff coming out. I did the student loan program webinar, but I'm beefing that up to help people get out of that debt. So I'm gonna do an ongoing classes of that over the next coming months. So I'll be bringing in new people to help them experience freedom. But on to why we're here this morning, and that is keep your dreams to yourself. Keep your dreams to yourself. Stop telling people your hopes, your aspirations, because a lot of times the very people that you think are for you, they're not really for you. They're not really supporting your ideas. The number one dream killer of people's dreams is the people that are very close to them, people that they confide in or they think are for them. I want you to remember this. You are being watched at all times, especially if you are a person who likes to do it big, who likes to grow. You're being watched. And you're not being watched because they want you to be successful for the most part. You're being watched to see you fail so that they can say I told you so. So they, even if they don't say it, I told you so, they'll say it in their mind. They'll be thinking that. That energy is there. Energy is affecting you every day, positive and negatively. Energy is affecting you. You can't see it with the naked eye, but you sure can feel it. Those days where you feel heavily, you got a weight on your shoulder, and you're like, where's this coming from? Check who you've been associating with. Check what you've been doing. What have you been watching on TV? Check that out. Make sure that you got the correct people around you or the correct environment. Your environment is a big deal. Is your home clean? Is it orderly? Is it everything for the most part in a neat and orderly fashion? Because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, your inner self. So if you got chaos around you, that means there's chaos in you. Clutter, I struggle with that in some areas. For the most part, I have things organized, but every now and then I'll just get junky. But then I make sure I know when it's affecting me and I get it straightened out. So keep your dreams to yourself. And I'm going to give you examples from the Bible of where this is true. You probably even heard this preached in many churches. I know I have, but it never gets old. It never gets old. This is something we must remind ourselves. The biggest things that I want to pull off, I keep to myself. The biggest things. I don't tell anyone, no one. Yeah, get upset with me because I don't do it. I'd rather talk about it after it's played out and it's been successful than to talk about it before. And the energy of that person or will interfere with me moving forward with it. Some things you just can't tell. You can't talk about. I know, in relationships, husband, wife, oh, we got to communicate. Yes, you do need to communicate properly. Some things you can't communicate, especially if you know that they're not on the same wavelength with you on certain topics. I know they got these cliche communication is important. Talk to this and talk that. I get it. Y'all know you already been down. Y'all start sharing your ideas and hey, I want to do this, and all you get met with, oh, you sure you want to do that? Oh, I don't know about that. How's that going? Because see, when you're telling people your other half, I'm speaking to you, talking to your other half, wife, husband, boyfriend, whoever. Whenever you telling someone about your dreams and what you want to do, they don't care if it's successful for you. They care if it's successful for them. That's why they ask you sure you want to do that? Oh, how this going to affect us and our money and the money in me in this situation? They're not looking at the fact that you're excited about this and you really believe in making this work. They're not caring about that. All they care about is where they fit in to the scenario that you're presenting. Just keep that in mind. That's all they're worried about. When they start talking about, now, I'm cool. I'm sure sometimes people come with wild and outlandish ideas, and that's not what I'm talking about here. But if you're simply talking about building wealth for your family, creating things, I've seen people made opposition just by talking to their spouse about setting up a trust and to protect assets, and they get opposition over those things. I've had somebody ask me, "Oh, will setting up a trust affect my Social Security, aka will this affect my limited income?" And I'm trying to teach you how to build unlimited income. So these are the things that go on when you teach people or try to tell people your dreams. Before I get into that, I want to give you an example of 5 different people in the Bible: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and Moses. And those of you who are listening, there's only a few people online. I want to ask yourself, what do these 5 people have in common? That's the question. What do they have in common? If you're up for commenting, put it in the comment section. What do you think these 5 people got in common? They all have something in common. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and Moses. All of them have something in common. And I can go down, it's a bunch of people in the Bible that have something in common with all of these people. All of them have something in common. You know what they have in common? They were given a vision. The Lord God came to them and said, hey, pick up, leave your family, and go over here. And if you do this, I will bless you beyond measure. I will make your seed multiply. Big dreams, big vision. And they had to pick up themselves, their wives, their families, the people that work with them. In the Bible, they call them slave people, and move to other areas, move to unfamiliar territory in order to become prosperous and wealthy. And every person every one of these that listen. Now, Moses was at the end of it. That's the one I think I'll teach next week about Moses. He was special. They all were special, but something about Moses, he really didn't have a choice about where he went. But do y'all know before he was given a commission to free his people, he was over 80 years old? And some of y'all sitting back talking about what's taking so long. Why am I not? Y'all in y'all 20s and 30s and 40s talking about it's taking too long. He was over 80. Abraham, before he had a son, well, he was at what 90 something? He was old. So who else? Isaac, before he got a wife, he was around 40. Okay. I just want to talk about that. If you think it's taking too long, maybe you haven't gone through enough for you to even deserve or get that success that you are supposed to have. See, these people had to go through some things, but we're going to focus on Joseph and his dreams and what happened to him. So let's share the screen. Joseph's dreams. Starts off, isn't that fitting? It said 37, Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob's family line. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And these were sons from different wives, right? And he brought their father brought their father a bad report about them. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made an ornate robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. So they already had hated him. They despised him because he was the father's favorite, and he made a special robe for him. So they didn't like him. Then they also had different mothers. So that was the other thing. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. So he told the brothers from another mother this dream. I don't know what he was expecting, what type of response he was expecting from that. But given the history that they have, I can't see how he would believe that they would think good of this dream that he shared with them. Now, let's fast forward that to today. Let's bring it back to this. How many times have you gone to someone and told them about an idea? Let's not even talk about an idea. How many of you have you've had this dream, an actual dream, that was very special to you, that could have a bigger meaning for your life, and you shared it with someone you thought would receive it or at least give you a meaning to it, and all it did was get, what was that about? I know what that feeling like. I've had I probably over the years 4 distinct dreams that to this day I remember verbatim what they were, and they all have to do with what I'm doing right now. All of these dreams are connected to what I'm doing right now. And when I share the story to people, now when I share the story with strangers, they receive it well. But when I share it with people that I know, you start to see their face twist, or they really don't have any encouragement with the dream, or even try to help you define it. I remember I shared it with someone I thought I was really cool with. Oh, all of them images in the dream, they fake. See, immediately people will try to step on your dream. It's special because you had it. It felt different than any other dream. And it has a deeper impact, a deeper meaning on your life. You know this. But as soon as you share it with someone else, they immediately try to tear it down. And then you begin to doubt your dreams. And do you know when you do that, that will slow you down? That dream that was giving you purpose will slow you down. And you will meet opposition for it. I can prove it right here in the scripture. He told these dreams, and you'll see what happened. So I've learned when I have these type of special dreams, I don't tell anybody. I do not share it anymore. Keep your dreams to yourself. Because guess what? That dream is for you and your divine creator. That's for your divinity. It's for you to get the meaning of it. Because when God went to any of these people, there was nobody in between all of this. He said, do this, go do that. They did it. There was nothing. Abraham didn't consult with anybody and try to, hey, well, God, what you think about this? God came to me in a vision. He said, I need to go handle some business over here, blah, blah, blah. He didn't do that. They just picked up and left. They obeyed the voice. You guys are getting inspiration from your inner God that's inside of you, and you're trying to vet it with people that don't even understand the dream you got. You're trying to go to people to get them to side with you or to agree with your dream. They are not in agreement. I don't care who they are. Know why they're simply because know why they're not in agreement? Because they didn't get the dream. They didn't get the call. That dream is a calling for you, specifically for you, not for them. That dream didn't say, well, go tell somebody and let them interpret it. No, it was given to you. That download was hitting you, and it was for you to interpret. But unfortunately, we live in a world where we try to get validation from outside sources. And if you like me and if you have experienced life, every time you try to get validation from an outside source, outside of you, it's always going to fall up short. It's always going to fall short. It's not going to be complete. Most times it leads to confusion. I would say perhaps all the time it leads to more confusion. Why? Because you entered that energy, they got into your energy, and it wasn't supposed to be there. Keep your ideas to yourself. Keep your dreams to yourself. And if someone is you seem to be helping you, or you by their fruit that they're pushing you along and helping you along, work with those. Because people, listen, what I learned, and I learned just over the years, and I've seen this actually happen recently. When people see you just working on your ideas and they align with you, they will come in and automatically try to assist. Just automatically. You don't even have to ask. They will come in and say, hey, I like what you're doing there. How can I help? They would do that. You don't have to beg anybody to help you help others. They will come in and assist you. And this has happened in these scriptures as well. Let's keep going. Then he had another dream. Now he's getting another dream. And he told it to his brothers again. Listen, he said, I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? See, they got jealous. Even they started worrying. Rebuked him. His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. The father, although he said this, he thought about this. He knew there was something to this dream. Joseph sold by his brothers. Now his brothers had gone to graze their father's flocks near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, as you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I am going to send you to them. Very well, he replied. So he said to him, go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me. Then he sent them off from the valley of Hebron. When Joseph arrived at Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, what are you looking for? He replied, I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks? They have moved on from here, the man answered. I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan, but they saw him in the distance. And before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. So they saw him off in the distance. People are watching you off in the distance, and they're plotting to kill your ideas. See, people see greatness in you, and they want to kill it. Why? Because if you do something great, it may make them look bad, or they feel like they may look bad because they're not doing nothing. All they doing is, they're doing regular folk stuff, grazing some flock. What everybody else is doing, like people right now. Most people have 9 to 5s, and you're the one person that you got a 9 to 5, but you want more than that. And they're gonna try to kill that out. They're gonna see you working on stuff. Why are you doing that? You got, you're about to retire. You got your potential, your what do you call your pension coming up, your Social Security. You could just get those checks and sit down, and you ain't got to do nothing and just accept those limited incomes. See, the energy of the world is what you call replication mindset. They want you to be like them. And if you do anything outside of that, they're going to criticize and they're going to hate on it. Anything different, no, wait a minute. What you doing? You going to show us all up. That means we got to change our mind and actually do something to bring wealth to our family. We're going to have to work for it. Actually get out of this job to build wealth. And one thing I noticed about these scriptures, all of them were very wealthy, and they created generational wealth that they passed on. Look at us as a people. Are we passing on our wealth? Do we even have wealth to pass on? Or are we just trying to get by so that we can just do enough for this lifetime, for what we got going on right now? Because according to the Bible, our commission is to create generational prosperity, generational wealth, to pass it on. So really what you're working for is for your grandchildren to be wealthy. And then they'll do the same. You're not just working for yourself. You're working to pass on a legacy. Now let me clear that up. You're working to pass on a legacy of wealth. Because we are passing on legacies. And most part, we're passing on a legacy of poverty, miseducation, depression, bad relationships. We're passing that legacy on. But it's time for us to start passing on a legacy of prosperity and deliberately looking to make a change. Men, yes, you brothers. See, if you really read the Bible, it really put the brothers on the spot. Y'all are supposed to have it already going on before y'all even have a wife in your life to take care of and children. Y'all are supposed to have that going on. But unfortunately, we don't have that. Why? Because we've been taught, go get this job and just make enough. And regular jobs don't really make enough. You can't make enough to cover a whole household of a family. What's the median income is what, $42,000 to $47,000 average income in our community? That's nothing. That's you can't live on that. I know some of y'all think y'all could. That is nothing. You are not creating any type of generational wealth with that. Shoot, $100,000 is not enough to create a generational wealth. Well, let me keep going. They applied to kill him. And guess what they said? Verse 19 says, here comes that dreamer. That's what they said about y'all. Here come that guy. He always fantasizing about doing big things. Here he come. And as soon as you get there, they throw their little sly remarks at you. They said to each other, come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious and devout animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. See, people may not plot to physically kill you, but they plot to spiritually kill you with their words and purposely sticking their feet out in front of you, figuratively, to trip you up. And guess what? In my experience, the person that was trying to trip me up was the very person I was talking on the phone to every day. I do a lot of talking to on the phone. That person that you think is your friend. Because they say things, sometimes they be very subtle. They know they can't come at you straight. So they say little things to give you doubt, feed you seeds of doubt. And enough doubt over time, you'll eventually not even act on your inspiration or your idea. You won't. Because you have allowed them to give you so much doubt that you become comfortable with where you are because you got someone who's aligned with that with you. See, We give ourselves excuse. Well, they think this way, and this is why. Oh, it's okay. Think about it. I know. I know. Somebody's listening to me right now, and they can relate to what I just said. And you probably got an inkling of it before, but you didn't really act on it, and you never really paid attention to it at all. I'm telling you, the very haters in your life are the people you spend the most time with, the people you're talking to that you're calling friends and family. Am I creating enemies for people? No, I'm not trying to create. It's like Christ said. He said, "I didn't create you. To bring a sword." What? Why is the sword? Why did Christ come and say He's going to bring a sword of division? Because He was going to speak the truth, and anything that's not the truth is going to have a problem with it. So that's where the division is going to come. The division in the disconnection of ideas and paths that people are trying to take. Some people are on the path to just living mediocre lives, living out their lives as an employee for the rest of their life. They're okay with that. Are you okay with that is the question. And if you're okay with that, then hang out with that. But if you're not okay with that, then you have no business being in a company of people who want that and don't want what you want on a consistent basis. And I'm not saying just don't at all. What I'm saying is that a lot of your time? How much time are you spending? Because if you're spending time doing anything other than pushing your agenda forward of your prosperity and building a legacy for your family, then you're gonna have some problems. If you see, I know people tell me what they want all the time, but then when I look, I really pay attention to what they actually do, and I can see actually what they do is why things are not working out. And they'll say to me, "I just can't figure it out." No, you don't want to figure it out. You don't really want to look at yourself and see why it's not working. You going into the company of these, you walking up head first into bad situations with people who have mean you no good. When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe. They immediately stripped him. The ornate robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brother agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. See, he had to go somewhere to become, if you know this story, he became one of the highest governors in Egyptian house. But he had to go through this to get to that. All because he shared his dream with his brothers. So he went through something. See, every time you share your ideas with someone who doesn't mean you well, you're going to go through something. Either you're going to go through a disagreement with them, or you're going to start to see their behavior act negatively towards you. Don't be surprised. You're going to go through something. And it's going to slow your progress down. They sold him, his own brothers sold him into slavery. Let's liken that today. How many people are selling you into slavery today? How many? Who has sold you into slavery? This is going to hurt some feelings right now, what I'm about to say. And I'm even guilty of this. Do you realize we sold our own children into slavery the moment we put them into public education system? I had to come to that realization. We sold our children into slavery the moment we put them into public school education, and we didn't educate our children ourselves. Hard pill to swallow, is it? I had to swallow that one myself. We did. Because what is public education really teaching our children? It's not teaching them how to be wealthy. And if you want to use the argument well-rounded how? They're teaching our children all kinds of stuff that go against our principles of how we live. But yet, we continue to push that on them and say they need that. Really? All it's going to create is more situations like most of us had ended up to. We ended up on jobs, not making enough to ends meet. And then we're sitting around wondering what happened. What happened is you put them in a system of indoctrination that goes against every principle that God put out there for us to be successful. We killed all of the good ideas in our children by giving them that form of education. I really wasn't going here today to talk about that, but it led me here. The only way we'll become even viable or successful, become a nation of people of prosperity, we cannot continue to do the same things we've been doing for these decades in the past and think we're going to get different results. It's not going to happen. Somebody might be back. Oh, Kim, you know your ministry. You can't be talking about certain things. Yes, I can, because my ministry ain't a 501c3. I don't need permission to talk about these things. I can speak on these things with freedom. I'll say it again. You're never going to get any type of success if you're introducing your children into a system that is meant to indoctrinate them into the form of thinking that has created them to be slaves. This is kind of like what they did to Joseph with his big idea. They sent him off with these people to be slaves, and it turned out differently. God was watching out, had a bigger plan. It looked bad in the beginning, but it turned out really good, and it even turned out so good he had to feed them, because they had a famine and had to go back to the very brother that they sold into slavery. And so guess what? Maybe, I was trying to think of Joseph's mindset when he was telling that. Maybe he was letting them know, you guys gonna end up looking up to me. That was a warning for them. See, it was an opportunity for them to straighten up their mindset and respect their brother. But they didn't know. They remained wicked in their hearts, and they did them wrong, sold them into slavery. But we're doing our children wrong, and we've been done wrong. Not purposely, we did it wrong. It's not a purposeful thing like somebody did it with malicious intent. This is what all we had. Why? Because they created this system. It's like self-replicating, because it puts you in a position where you don't make enough money where you could do something different, or you mentally think you're not making enough money to do something different. So all you have is free education to send them to. I can't stay home to teach them this, that, and the other. But once you understand the homeschooling laws, it really don't take all day to educate your child. Not really. You don't like they do. They got our kids in school almost 8 hours of straight indoctrination. See how we looking in the chat. Straight indoctrination, just reinforcing stuff. And I know when I went to school, the first thing they wanted us to do was pledge allegiance to a flag. That's the first indoctrination. Second indoctrination, follow orders, don't question. Walk down the hallway a certain way. Education was the last thing. Really teaching you something was last. And the problem we have is people are going into these fields believing this system really works. And they don't even look at their own life. I know many teachers that work in these systems and they don't really want the job. They do the job because it's a high demand job and it's to them safe and guaranteed paycheck. It's not done solely on the love of educating. They'll say, "Oh, I like educating." Really? I hand you $1 million right now. You'll still stay in that school system and teach. You'll teach with being a millionaire. You'll go to that classroom. No, you'll probably most people will say, "I'll create my own school so I can teach the way I want to teach, and I have to follow these crazy rules that they have." Let's see. Somebody said in here said, "I had dreams as a teen that led me to what I'm doing now. Once I came into the knowledge of self, the Christ within, it all made sense." That's how it works. Takes time. All of the people that really got their reward in life, that abundance, it took time. 80. Moses, before he was given a commission to free his people, he was over 80 years old. They paid some dues. They put in some work. Okay. Where was I? When Reuben returned to the cistern and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brother and said, "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in blood. They took the ornate robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." They didn't say brother, they said sons. He recognized and said, "It is my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. And that goat 38 is a whole nother life happened. Now, so the moral of this story is you got dreams, you got motivation, but you realize that your motivation and your dreams is self-powered, meaning you have to go with inside of you, connect to God, and then that's how you get your power. If you try to receive power outside of you from people, you might get a little bit, but it's going to run out of steam. The unlimited source, the unlimited power that you can tap into is the divine mind, the divine God within you, the God that works through you. That's it. There is no running out of that. As long as you know that that's where your power is. Stop depending on people, systems, and things to be your power. You're the power. You're the self-sustaining power. You draw on and connect to the source, the God within you. God works through you, in you. But you just got to tap in and connect. Having these conversations with people, empty for the most part, unless you're building on something. Sharing your idea. Oh, yeah. People can't see what you see. Wasn't given the vision you were given. Your vision is unique to you. Your vision is unique to you. It's your dream. It's your mission. It's your calling. They said 8 hours of school system preparation for a job and employee, not ownership. That's right. If you want to disconnect, you first got to mentally disconnect and make a decision on where you want to, if you want to leave a legacy for yourself. And I'm putting this out there for you, Mint. You got to go after wealth. prosperity. Leave that behind. This is, if you look at the Bible, the men, they had wealth. And they left that for their children. And they kept repeating that. That's education. Educate yourself on wealthy ideas to pass that down to your grandchildren and their grandchildren and keep it going. I one thing I was talking about earlier this week is the one thing that we've been programmed to do, and you're going to get this from the school systems too. Send our children to these indoctrination camps so that they can get programmed on how to get a job and leave home and be on their own. They call that success. That's not success. Because in healthy cultures, you have 2 to 3 generations living in the same home, working together for the good of the family. All decisions that's made is made as a unit in a community. So imagine you making a decent amount of money, and you have they're making, and y'all pool all that money. Y'all could pretty much have a mansion where you have room and have land. And so taking care of each other. We have to get back to that, to community of taking care of our family. Just when when our parents get older, we don't have to stick them in nursing homes. They can stay home and everybody's working together. And guess what? People live longer that way. It's not exercise. It's not so much eating right. It's working as a family unit, positive energy, working together, which keep people living longer, keeping them wanting to be around longer. Imagine if you had your grandparents, your mom, all of them within your surroundings, and y'all living a happy, healthy life, cooking meals together, eating together, taking care of the property together. How much peace and happiness that will be. The children get to know 2 and 3 generations of family. If you look back in the day, people lived longer when they lived like that. It wasn't exercise. It wasn't the diet. Diet helps. Exercise helps, but it wasn't that. It was the mental stability of the people in the stress-free lives that they lived that kept them living longer. And just a side note, the whole idea that we grow old and die is also a concept. We've been taught that. Oh, you're gonna get old and die. We believed it. Maybe if we believe something else, maybe we won't die. That's a wild proposition that I put out there. That idea, but I believe that if we have a different belief system, we won't die. We could actually make these bodies last a lot longer just by simply changing our minds. And from changing our mind, we'll change the cellular structure and what it believes. Because, when you speak, there's a book, I actually bought it. Where is it? About the something about water, how you speak to it, and what you can do. If you're speaking positive things to yourself daily, which you're mostly made of water, how that would upbuild you. And then you're around people that's speaking positive things. Now imagine being in a household where everyone is talking and speaking positive and well-being to each other. How the energy of that house will cause everybody to live longer, stress-free lives. That's possible. All right. What's that? All right. Well, that's it. It's 10:46. I went on for about 46 minutes. Tuesday, we'll be doing it again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sundays. And just so you know, Wednesday and Thursday, I record the shows. They play live, but I'm not live. I'll record the shows and upload them. Eventually, I will be live on those shows, but it's just easier for me to record a show, upload it so y'all can watch it. Hey, to make this successful, like and subscribe. Keep it up. Go to the other channel, Church of Infinite Abundance. I got some stuff coming on to kind of make everything more clear. So I'm working with some people in the background to get this thing really rolling like it should be. And somebody Falconez said, greetings, Elder Akeem and Chaz, good day as well. Same to you, brother. And Jody Stickamo. So, if you got dreams, peace, my brother, peace, ND Circle. If you got dreams, you got aspirations, things you want to do, keep them to yourself. I know some of y'all in your house with your wives and your husbands, and you got these big dreams, and you already know what you can and can't say. Keep it to yourself. Work it, work your idea, because the inspiration that God came to you with is for you. And I'm gonna tell you something. You guys are getting calls early in the morning, but y'all just won't get out the bed. I'll get another hour of sleep. Do you know when you take that out, that idea is going to fade. When you get it, get up, obey, get to it. Got plenty of time to get some sleep. All right, with that being said, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. Have a good, great rest of your day.